Welcome to Between Sundays, the podcast where Christians are trying to figure out life where most of life happens. I'm Bobby.
I'm Justice.
And today we're talking about the dreaded topic of doomscrolling.
Not looking forward to it.
Let it be known we're not going to show our screen time in this episode.
This is about you, the listener, not us.
Not about us. Do as I say, not as I... No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, it'd probably be embarrassing if we look today.
That's why we're not going to look.
No, we're not going to look. We're going to talk about what we should be doing.
Well, yeah.
Maybe we'll get convicted when we get done talking about this.
I already am.
Yeah. I know we were talking earlier, you're like, we could just skip this episode and just go on to the next one because nobody does this. Nobody doom scrolls or anything like that. So what is the app you find can be the one that'll get your attention?
TikTok.
Oh
yeah.
See, I don't have TikTok.
Well, that's a good thing. It's a good thing because I
just live through your TikTok when you share
exactly.
Reels.
That's what I was like. I feel like I'm TikTok for a lot of people. I've got on the doom scrolling side. I've got Facebook. I'm on Facebook a little bit.
Yeah.
It's mainly just to keep up with friends and family, stuff like that. TikTok, I'll get lost in. I will. TikTok's one of those things that I can make a new hobby and learn all about it, burnt out in the same day. And I have to be careful with TikTok.
See, I didn't realize TikTok was that informative on things.
I mean, I get all of my information from TikTok. No.
Is that the new YouTube? Instead of YouTube and things now, we just TikTok it?
I mean, because sometimes the stuff is shorter.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And I don't want to sit here and listen to, 45 minutes of your life story and then you get into how I'm going to fix this alternator on this car. I just want to pull it out, put it in, bada bing, bada boom, you're done.
I get that.
But I'm glad you got your hat back on this week, though.
I feel so much better with my hat on today.
You color coordinated the whole outfit, though.
I try. I do what I can. That's the benefit of having 25 ministry t-shirts. You can about go with whatever color you want.
Just walking around a little billboard.
I think, yeah, I really am. I mean, I looked the other day in my drawer, and I think I've maybe got 5 shirts that are not ministry shirts. It's funny. I have a whole line of ministry shirts. I have a couple of Second Amendment type shirts. I like those type shirts.
2A action.
Little 2A action.
Let people know where you stand.
Exactly. I like Shield Republic. I like some of their shirts.
Almost veteran,
Almost. I just got a flag up here and there. So I have those, and then I have just a small little sliver of just regular shirts, like Adidas or something like that. But it's usually all ministry stuff. Usually all stuff we've put together for youth group and things like that. So it's good to advertise.
Yeah.
So
majority of my t-shirts are just Carhartt.
No, not you.
All of our church has so many shirts.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
We have so many shirts, and what ends up happening is I'll get a shirt, and Ashlyn will get a shirt. My wife will get a shirt, and then now we have 2 of the exact same shirts. So then it's
why do we need?
I'm not gonna wear this. But yeah, I kind of phase those out. Really.
It's a weird feeling.
I like just the blank shirt.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling when it comes to church shirts because you're like, I don't wear it, but do I give the church shirt to Goodwill?
No.
It's back.
You don't want an axe murderer getting your church shirt and then you plaster it on
that's what I'm saying. It's
the mug shot.
Who does it go to?
Temple Baptist Church, Anderson, South Carolina is just...
A lot of mine I've given to our Haven.
I just jinxed us. Now we're going to have somebody that's going to commit a heinous crime.
I've done the Haven guy. I'll do the Haven stores. I'm like, well, we support, the Haven here. So
sure.
Maybe they'll advertise a little bit for us as they wear them, so
yeah.
Maybe I don't know. There's no good way of doing it.
Not when it comes to church shirts.
Not church shirts, not ministry shirts. Yeah.
No. And the weird thing is too, I don't even know how we got off on this topic. The weird thing with church shirt is I have been wearing a church shirt in public and then seen another church member in public with the same shirt. And it's oh crap. It's we can't, just don't look at me, know?
I will say that's kind of the good thing about, I don't know. It's good for me.
I don't want people to know I'm at the bar doing this right here,
That's why I don't put the sticker on the back of the car. You just gotta be careful of that.
Yeah.
No, it is fun. I like the student ministry shirts. You don't see those as much until you get out in public and you come across one of your teens, and you're in the same shirt. And I'm fine, but they're embarrassed because they're in the same shirt as the youth pastor. And inevitably, I'm like, "Hey, come take a picture with me." No, I don't do that, but I mean, yes, I do. But so that's the weird moments. So.
And then too, the other side that I have with church T-shirts is like, for what church event do I wear what church shirt?
That is too.
It's kind of like, well, I mean, this is a church event, but do I do Temple Kids, or do I do young adults, or do I do the umbrella, the church? We have
just the red tee. That's the safe one.
The people that have no idea what we're talking about, we have a ton of T-shirts at our church.
Yes.
I mean,
every ministry. Then we have our day school. So our school has shirts.
I think I have, just to give in context, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 Temple T-shirts. I have 12 T-shirts that are Temple.
I know I have more than that. My problem...
I'm forgetting some, I'm sure.
Here's my issue with it, is because I have had a hand in designing right many of the shirts for the church. I get a little biased with it. I'm like, I can't throw it away because I designed it, So it's that tough side. Like the school alone this year, we put out 3 T-shirts and a sweatshirt just for the school this year.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's all over the place. Anyway, if you want a good shirt, we know where some are. If you think you want one.
If you're homeless and need a good T-shirt, we've got plenty of those too.
If you want to support Temple, but you say I don't even go here, but if you listen to the podcast, that's what we're part of.
We'll ship you a T-shirt.
Yeah, we'll ship you a T-shirt. I think we need to get some stuff out for us, though, too. So that'll add to our shirts.
Golly. Some Between Sundays.
You'll just be wearing Between Sundays all the time now.
Yeah. We are supposed to be getting hats sometime soon.
We are. They're in the works. Matter of fact, I talked with Thomas recently. He was talking about getting some kind of like the test hats in and things like that, working on the design. So they're coming.
We'll be able to get those out to some.
That's going to I can't wait to wear a Between Sundays hat.
See, like I
might just hang one right there just so it stays there all the time.
I have probably 20 hats. I rotate the same 4, it feels like.
Yeah, but you also have 5 that say the exact same thing.
Well, I like Grady's.
Plug for Grady's Great Outdoors and Grady's hats.
Yeah.
Like it's just a solid rotation of
Grady's those. Grady's is our local
they support
Baby Bass Pro, and I'm in there all the time. Sometimes I don't even buy stuff. I'm just in there.
Just walk around. Just take it all in.
Just in there for the vibes.
Yeah. I get it. I've been in there. I've been in there time too, just looking around just to see. So I can get in trouble in there very fast.
Well, I can. I don't have any money, so.
Well, yeah. I guess let's preface that. If I had money, I could get in trouble there real fast. Yeah.
I walk in and be like,
that would be
another
nice.
Doomscroll right there. Another old TikTok sound. I was like, oh, it's cute. Wish I could get it, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Oh man. Well, on that topic today of Doomscrolling, again, we live this life with a lot of things going after our attention. A lot of things that are trying to, pull our attention here, pull our attention there, and it's one of those things that we don't necessarily wake up deciding to be caught up in all those things. Sure. It's just something that kind of happens as we give those opportunities, right? And you'd be amazed at a lot of the habits that we form, those things that have developed in our life that really have developed, and it kind of took us by surprise, thinking like, man, I didn't, it'd be like you pulling out your screen time, and you're like, man, I didn't realize I did all this. Well, it's there, it's happening. We just have grown so accustomed to it that it happens in our life. And most of us don't intentionally allow these things to happen. It's just we're not making time for something somewhere else. Of course, as we're going to talk today, namely God and time in the Bible and things like that, we're not making time for something somewhere else, and so we get distracted by things. It's very easy to do. And it's kind of like I remember setting up the boys' iPad. A few Christmases ago, they decided to save up money and buy an iPad before they got a phone. Well, my oldest has a phone now. My middle still just has a iPad. And so, like any good parent, we're trying to go in there and we're setting up things. I'm setting up screen time and where they can't go and all of this stuff, just trying to safeguard. Well, part of it is they have two things: they have downtime and they have screen time. They have downtime that at 9 o'clock at night, their iPad locks up, and it will not unlock until 8 a.m. I think, something like that. But then they have screen time, so they have screen time that within that time, they only get an hour of screen time. And if they want any more, they have to do a chore, earn it, ask, whatever it may be. So when we first set it up, there was a few apps I just left all the time. Like Maps, the calculator, the random apps that nobody uses, So within a couple weeks, it's like, I remember it was like 9:30 one night, and they're still on their iPad. I was like, y'all cannot do anything on your iPad. Like, you can't play a game. You can't do it. What are you doing? Justice is just going through maps, just
memorizing
looking up
street
stuff.
names.
Just zooming in and out, looking on maps. There's one night Asher's just
raising little stalkers.
Apparently so. Asher's just trying to figure out how high his calculator goes one night. I mean, just so what I'm getting at is this: we don't realize it, but we get distracted by so many things in life on these phones if we're not careful.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, especially with the social media side, of course, but then just being on our phones in general and TV and you fill in the blank with dedicating too much time to it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we neglect the fact that it is something that is pulling at our attention. It is shaping who we are becoming. I keep hitting my microphone, but it's shaping who we are becoming, and I think sometimes we forget that what is fighting for our attention is also trying to mold us and form us.
Yeah.
And I forget a lot of times that hey, it is okay to put it down every once in a while.
Yeah. Because
if you're not careful, I'm as guilty as anybody else is of having a long day. It's like, oh, I've got 100 things on my mind. I left the church, but still thinking about church stuff and what I got to do tomorrow. And, it's nothing for me to open my phone and, be on it for a long time just to kind of suppress some of that, that thought process of what I need to get done.
Oh,
when in reality, I'm just kind of stacking, burden on burden.
Yeah.
And, I think the first part of really acknowledging that there's a problem is acknowledging that there's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have an AA meeting for phone users, but, really acknowledging like, hey, in the morning before I have even, wiped the eye boogers out of my eyes and I'm reaching for my phone, is it becoming something I would be proud of?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we just want to ignore it, but it's even something in my life I have to acknowledge, hey, you might be spending a little too much time on it.
Oh, yeah.
So really acknowledging that what it is, it's something fighting for your attention.
Yeah.
And you can, we kind of put this with social media, but this could be, basketball or football, baseball, travel ball, volleyball, soccer. I mean, you fill in the blank. It could be work. It could be your job. It could be your phone while you're at your job.
Yeah.
What is fighting for your attention?
Yeah.
And giving into that, time and place of saying, I'm allowing myself to sit here and ingest what this is feeding me.
Yeah.
It's really taking a hard look at, is it something I'm struggling with or is it something that I'm doing?
Yeah. Well, you think about nowadays how easy we've made it, or what we've done to make it so easy to get on our phones and things like that. I mean, literally, think about it. There was a time where, for everything that this phone does, you had to have other things to do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I needed to look up information, I had to go to a dictionary or an encyclopedia or even a computer somewhere else. If I wanted to take a picture, I had to go get a camera. If I needed I know. If I know you can't as much relate to it, but there was a time. If I needed a calculator, I had to go get a calculator. But if I wanted to wake up efficiently in the morning, I had to go buy an alarm clock. Now, this is literally the thing that wakes us up in the morning, and so we grab it to swipe and cut the alarm clock off. And then when we get done swiping this way to cut the alarm clock off, we just go ahead and swipe up, unlock the phone, and now we're into our day looking at something. So, I mean, we have, and kind of as you were talking there, it kind of hit me. It starts out as something that's fighting for our attention, but then it becomes something that we willingly give our attention.
Well, you just said it. It's becoming something we can't live with, but we can't live without.
Yeah.
It's like, it's our reminders app. It's us sending messages to ourselves to remind us to do other things, but at the same time, it's the same thing that's distracting us.
Yeah.
It's what wakes us up in the morning and keeps us up at night. And it's something that we have consented our time, energy, a lot of times our peace.
Yeah.
We have given up all of these things to a little, 4-inch screen.
Yeah.
And, really given it a place in our lives that, one, isn't healthy for anything to be there, but two, really only one thing is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely, people's like, man, I wish, I hear people sometimes like, man, I wish I could live without my phone. And he's like, I think we all do, but the reality is, we don't have any other way for it to wake us up or, keep in touch with people. And so really, instead of really putting limits on it, really controlling ourselves and say, these are the steps that I'm going to take to not let it have control over me, because it is something that your phone is a great slave, terrible master. And if you do not take control of your screen, it will take control of you.
Absolutely.
And it's something that you're always going to be fighting for time, but it's always something that's going to be there that you'll willingly give up time. We always talk about like, man, time flies, and I wish I had more time in the day, but we'll be so quick to just grab it and and blow 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and it's a terrible thing to have. I say it's a terrible thing to have to live with, but it really is when we allow it to have control of us.
Yeah. Well, really what we're getting down to is not necessarily what we're watching, but what it's doing to our life. Because at the end of the day, that phone and a lot of, obviously we could go into a whole nother episode of the bad parts of it and what we've got to safeguard from and all of that.
Sure.
Obviously the access to just pure sin that is out there that we have to be careful of.
Yeah.
So obviously we could fully acknowledge that. But that phone and most of what we would consume through that phone is not inherently bad. Again, it's meant to keep us connected. It's meant to help us be efficient in our days through schedules and calendars. It allows us to take pictures and have memories of our family and events and things like that. So it's not necessarily what we're watching. Again, part of my time, if you were to probably pull up my screen time, I love on Facebook, I love Marketplace. I love just seeing what
man.
deals are out there. I like looking at MacBid. Obviously, being a youth pastor, I like to see if there's something crazy on there I can buy. I'm the guy that scrolled MacBid one day and bought 35 pickleball paddles because I wanted to do an event. That's just part of my life. MacBid is not bad, right? Facebook Marketplace is not bad. It's not necessarily what we are watching as far as in the context of what we're talking about today, but it is what it is doing to our life. When we talk about doom scrolling, that just mindless, endless consumption of things that are not necessarily helping us. They're not bad, but they're not necessarily helping us either. And that's kind of what we're looking at through this. I was listening to I saw a clip the other day of somebody talking about that, just scrolling through phones and things like that, and he was kind of on that same thing. He's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing of what we're taking in, of what we're consuming, but just how it is changing our life, how it's changing our mindsets of things, how it changes our mood or our emotions and things. It really does make a difference in our life that we don't realize, and not in a good way. Because here's the thing we want to kind of get at today. You mentioned it earlier of what it's taking place of. Your attention, okay, your time span that you have for the day, what you put your attention towards, is one of the most valuable resources that you have.
Yeah.
What you take in, what you put your attention towards could very much help you grow in your life. If you were to, you're talking about some of the things earlier, like learning a hobby or whatever. If I put my attention to something to learn something, it's going to help me grow as a person. Maybe not necessarily as a Christian directly, but as a person. I may learn a new skill set or something like that. But also what I take in may hinder my growth as a person or my growth as attention or as a Christian, excuse me. So our attention is a very valuable resource that we have in this life. And again, everything is competing for it. All these apps, they're designed to keep us hooked on these things that we're looking at and keep us hooked for many hours out of the day if we're truly honest about it.
Yeah. When I'm thinking about the war of your attention, anything that is a good thing that's done too much can quickly turn into a bad thing. And anything we put in front of Christ is considered sin.
Yeah.
Anything that we make our God, little g, we can consider it sin. But I don't remember who said it a long time ago, but sin will always keep you longer than you wanted to stay. It will take you further than you wanted to go and make you pay more than you wanted to pay. And I see a lot of teenagers start off with good intentions and quickly allow that mold to form them when we're not supposed to be conforming to this world. I think I made a post a while back on Facebook. It was kind of something that had convicted me about. I started thinking about, if we really truly believe that Jesus is coming back, and we don't know when he's going to come back, why are we so confident, and why are we trying so hard to stay here? And we want to gain more knowledge, and I'm not against learning. I'm not against benefiting yourself that way. But whenever it consumes you, you're on a slippery slope to open the door for the devil to, allow other things to be put in there, whether that be bad time management or opening the door for an avenue for you to do something else. And there's a lot that can be taken from somebody with an idle mind. An idle mind being the devil's workshop. And really, the reason I'm getting on my phone is not because I'm slammed busy and, I'm making time for it. It's I use it as a time filler.
Yeah.
And whenever I start using it as a time filler, I know I'm guilty of it. When I'm using this as a time filler, I start finding more time that I need to fill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it'd be like, I'm not going to do that right now because I'd rather be sitting here. I'm bad about, Ashlyn asking me to do something. I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it in a second.
Yeah.
And before I know it, I've wasted time that I should have been exerting that energy somewhere else. I'm allowing it to take precedent in my life when it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think, what you focus on shapes what you think and quickly becomes how you live.
Yeah.
And, I think we have, especially as Christians, have became... Yeah, I remember there was a time where it was trendy to get off your phone. It was like, I'm buying a flip phone. And then, those people
quickly hated those.
3 weeks and then they were back. But, it's all about setting discipline in your life of saying, this is what I'm going to do. And if you can't set discipline in your life, put things in place that force you to have discipline.
Absolutely.
There. You kind of talked about it earlier with, your screen time. You can go through and have apps put in place where you don't look at them from this time to that time, or you only allow yourself an allotted time. And if not careful, we will allow it to have so much pull in our life that it starts controlling the way we think.
Yeah.
And then starts controlling the way we live. And I think part of the problem for a lot of us is not realizing that it is a problem.
Yeah.
Not, or at least, even us talking about it before, at least not wanting to say it's a problem.
Yeah.
Everybody's got issues except me. And that's just
we kind of joke like it's a problem. Oh, yeah, I'll work on that. It's kind of this lighthearted thing, but it's serious.
Like, and I was looking, and you had said Marketplace. Like, I'm terrible on Marketplace. I love case knives. And I will get on Marketplace. And I looked. I've only spent, but I mean, you look at today, I've spent 45 minutes today on Facebook. And I can guarantee you it wasn't me scrolling at people's posts. It was me looking on Marketplace.
Yeah.
And even at that, you'll start becoming discontent with what you have and start wishing, man, if I just had this or if I just had that. And before you know it, you've now became dissatisfied with what the Lord's given you.
Yes.
And I think it's fine to I'm not saying you shouldn't shop for things, but I go on Marketplace and my excuse is I'm looking for case knives. But I end up looking at motorcycles, I look at trucks, I look at old cars, I look at Granny's trailer that she's trying to sell, I look at lost dogs. I mean, I fill in that time with looking at everything. A 1992 domino set. I'm like, I'm never going to buy this, but I'll click on it and look at it for a little bit, sure. But you start becoming discontent. You start allowing anxiety. You start looking at, this person goes on vacation every week, it seems like. It's like, yes, they do, and it doesn't matter. That's their decision. But you start being like, well, I haven't taken a vacation and I don't know how long. Mm-hmm. It's like, well,
or you'll see that guy with that truck and be like, how's that guy that age and he's got this truck and this and that. I mean, it is. And
you become so discontent, and we've got adults, we've got teenagers. We've got adults acting like teenagers, and we've got teenagers acting like teenagers. When it comes to, well, Bobby's got this, and I don't understand why Bobby, how in the world can he afford that? Well, it's none of your business, and that's what he's got.
Yeah.
The Lord's blessed him at that. But we've given, I think it all goes back to, we have given place to the devil.
Yes.
We have consented our time to everything but God. And I think it's not an if, it's a when. Is this going to bite us because we have allowed so much to reign in our life instead of Christ?
Well, I think, we get into these. I think if these phones or whatever device, whatever we're doing, if there can be intention behind it, it can be productive. It can help towards a lot of things. But especially like what we're getting into today, talking about doom scrolling, when you're just scrolling to scroll with no intention behind it, like you said, all of a sudden your mind just starts to wander on things. Where 30 minutes ago I was fine with my life, yeah. But now I've seen everything else. Well, why all of a sudden is life was good before I started scrolling, but now I'm discontent with it? Well, because there's no goal behind it. There's no intention behind it. It's just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then all of a sudden, like you said, we've allowed our mind to be. We've almost taken the guard down of our mind. We're not guarding that anymore. We're not safeguarding that. And now you've got an enemy that knows our insecurities that can come in and be like, oh, well, hey, while your guard's down, why don't you see why this person has this house and you don't? Or why don't you see why this person has that and you don't? Or like you said, fill in the blank. Why do they get to go? Why is this the third trip they've taken this year?
Yeah.
And I don't even get one, But again, we have got to a place where if we're not intently and actively guarding our hearts, guarding our minds, we're going to start to compare in a lot of things. We're going to get to that place of seeing all the good parts of everybody's life and saying, well, why doesn't my life look like that? Why do they get to do this, and why is that not the case in my life? And like you said, all it does is just lead to these insecurities or these anxieties or these never feeling enough in our life off of something that was meant to be just, okay, let me fill a little time. And then before we know it, it's not just wasting time, but now we're questioning things, asking ourselves, well, why can't this be better? Why shouldn't it be like this? And like you said, we've gone into something that now we're wondering, maybe even questioning God of why life is the way it is, because of this just deep rabbit hole that we've gone through on social media. And comparison, and we've kind of talked about comparison in different aspects throughout different episodes, from last season and this season. And comparison is one of those things that I wholeheartedly believe God never desired us to live that way and to be consumed by those things.
I truly believe comparison is a sin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to start to cause you, again, you're going to start saying, well, God, why didn't you give me that? Or God, why doesn't my life look like that? Why? And here's a big one. God, they're not living for you, and they've got all this stuff, but I'm living for you, and I'm barely making it by.
Yeah.
And so there's all these different aspects that we have when we get into comparison and all of this stuff, that ultimately we start throwing this blame game around of whose fault it is, or God's fault in our eyes at the end of the day. Again, all because of just something that's meant to be harmless, that we're just scrolling through and letting it consume our lives.
Yeah, I mean, God doesn't. God, and you said it just a second ago, and I don't even think you intentionally said it. You said we see the good parts of people's lives. That's what we say. That's what we post. We don't post what we don't want people to see.
Yeah.
We don't post the sin that we don't want people to see. We don't post, us talking about, let me take that back. Some people post that. We don't post about us being upset with other people, and we want people to see the best our life is. And God doesn't want you to measure your life as a highlight reel. He wants you to measure your life with what He's done for you.
Yeah.
And I think about we're even there. It goes again. we're talking about comparison, and Paul even talking. He said, I've learned to abase and I've learned to abound. I've learned to have nothing and I've learned to have everything. And I think if we could learn how to do the verse where he says, in whatsoever state I am in, I have learned to be content.
Yeah.
And in his contentment in that wasn't so-and-so called me a name. It was, he was going to prison for the gospel. But we let so many things easily beset us, and we have learned that somebody wants to listen to our whining and crying, and it makes for a good story. And we've allowed discontentment to be so normalized that it's uncomfortable if somebody's not, like, you're happy with your life. Like, we're all here miserable.
Yeah.
And nobody has joy that comes from other people or other things. Nobody has true joy that way. And when we're chasing just the next thing, or we're seeing what they're doing or what they're not doing, and I want to make sure that I post this so that I'm hoping that I get 30 likes, but I'm really wanting 2 people to see this.
Yeah.
And when we give it precedence in our lives, we have given over more than what we would be willing to give away if we saw the whole picture. If we saw the grand scheme of it, say, listen, what this road is taking me down in 10 years, I don't want to be there. If we saw it that way, we would never start here.
Yeah.
But again, it takes you back to, it'll keep you longer than you wanted to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Make you pay more than you wanted to pay, and it will destroy you in the end if you're not careful.
Yeah.
And again, we're not talking about you doing the sin that you could be committing with your phone. We're talking about the things that we justify. We're talking about the things that seem normally okay. And that's the slippery slope of it, of allowing it to, you must, man, I don't want to see that junk on my phone no more. It's like, what? You keep popping it up.
Yeah.
So, what are you allowing? What are you allowing that is going to keep you? It's not an accident.
No.
It's all on purpose, and it's something that your time needs to be guarded.
Yes. Well, we get to this place and we wonder why all of a sudden we're unhappy in life and all these things. Well, go back to what could be the cause of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would dare to say the majority of the time it is just that doom scrolling, looking at everything, comparing this, comparing that. And again, like I said earlier, we wonder, well, before I did all that, I was perfectly fine because I didn't know what this person was doing, or I didn't see what they had, or I didn't compare to what I think I don't have compared to what they do have. So it's not an accidental thing. We've got to stop getting to this place where we think we just stumbled into this.
Yeah.
No, we allowed this to happen because we're letting these things go on in our life. And like you just said a second ago, it's not the sin that we could be getting into. It's what we're doing with what is not meant to be bad at the moment, but is really taking control of our life. And if we're not intentional with the time that we have on it, if we're not intentional with our time when other things, like you said, we're gonna. It's amazing how we will rearrange a whole afternoon because we want to stay scrolling through something.
Yeah.
When we'll, before we get on that phone, we'll acknowledge, oh, I got a busy day. There's just no, I've got to get this, and this done. And then all of a sudden, you sit back and you're scrolling, and you're like, wow, I wasn't as busy as I thought I was. Well, because you didn't do everything that you wanted to do because we were scrolling on something. And so we've got to be intentional with that time, and we've got to get to that place where we understand what we are consuming is forming us. What we're consuming is shaping our life. And we talk about this a lot with our church about discipleship and and God changing lives and transforming lives. Well, we're either going to be discipled by God's word, or we're going to be discipled by an algorithm. We're going to be discipled by an app that we're looking through and all of these things. And if we don't get to the place where we say, I've got to take that time back, you're not going to stumble on or by chance get that time back.
Yeah.
You've got to make the conscious decision to say, okay, there's nothing wrong with looking at MacBid, but I don't need to be on it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with catching up and seeing what my friends are doing on Facebook, but I don't need to let that lead into looking at this or scrolling through this or comparing that, whatever it may be. I don't need to see what somebody has, and then all of a sudden I see the house that they have, and then I'm like, well, I'm going to go on Zillow now and see if I can get a house like that. It's just like one domino effect after the other.
Yep.
We see one thing, it leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, and before you know it, it is truly altering your mentality and getting you to a place where you're, like you said, discontent, looking at God saying, why don't I have that? I deserve this. All these things, we get into those areas of our life. And we've referenced this verse a lot throughout the podcast. I realized this the other day. But we talk about in Philippians where it says to think on these things. We've got to make that choice of is it right? Is it encouraging? Is it something that's going to bring peace in my life? Is it something that's going to help me see things from the right perspective? Those are the things that I need to think on. Those are the things that need to take place in my mind and in my heart so that I'm not discontent with those things and I don't just go down that mindless scrolling of this and that. Before I know it, I'm just unhappy with my life.
Yeah. You're never, anytime your phone screen is on, remember that you're not just looking.
Yeah.
You are forming what you will become.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I know that will be like, it's not gonna hurt. I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Or I'm on here, but they won't say I'm just being nosy and I want to know everybody's business. I'm just looking. But if you are honest with yourself and you say, no, I really am allowing this to affect me negatively. My kids don't go to that school, or my kids don't play on that team, or we can't afford to send my kids on this trip or that trip. And you start comparing your life to everybody else's. Even you look at the car people drive, the house they live in, the family they've got, the job they have. When any of that starts affecting you and you start saying, man, if I wouldn't have these problems if I just had what they had. Yeah. That's when you are in very dangerous waters. It's like, it's like the shark attack. It's like, well, nobody's been attacked by a shark on dry land.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I go to the beach, I don't know how many times people have told me there's no sharks in the water. And it's like, well, I'm going where they are. It's not like I'm oblivious. I've never been driving down the interstate and gotten a shark attack before. I'm going into something that. Do what? I
was gonna say, tell that to the Sharknado people.
Yeah. I never had one fly through my windshield. But no, it's when I'm treading in those waters, I know that that's a possibility.
Absolutely.
And anytime I open my phone, I know that that's a possibility.
Yes.
And it is stupidity on my end it's stupidity on my end to act oblivious that this could happen.
Yeah.
But, be careful with what you allow. There is never a time when you will open your screen again and it's just you looking at something.
Yeah.
It's always good, because that's been my biggest thing. It's like, I'm going to check wonder what the temperature is right now. It's like, oh, that's a nice 79 Chevelle. Like, that's how it works. It slowly starts taking your time.
Yeah.
And you really do have to ask yourself, is this something I'm willing to give up?
Yeah. Well, it's going to affect you in one or two ways.
It's never not going to affect you.
Yes.
It's going to affect you one way or the other.
I mean, it's either you might scroll and see something that makes you happy. Maybe something happens with a family member. They have something, and we get excited about it. Or on the flop end of that, we get discouraged or, ungrateful, discontent, things like that. It's like you said, it's going to affect you. Mm-hmm. You're just kind of joking about it. The weather app. Okay, if I look at that, that's going to affect how I dress for the day.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, if something like the weather app will affect what my dress is for the day, then all these other things that we give this mindless consumption to is going to affect us. And, again, that's where I want to hone in on being careful of, is just that getting on that thing with no intention of it. And before you know it, you have opened up your mind and dropped your guard, and the enemy loves nothing more than to have that kind of free space in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
To just do as he please, make you feel inadequate, make you feel like you should have this or that God's not for you, God doesn't love you, God's not providing for you. Fill in the blank. The enemy will make you feel that way when you just start that mindless scrolling through things, and before you know it, you've gone down 10 rabbit holes and all of this stuff, and now you're questioning everything when an hour and a half ago life was great and the day was good and you were fine with where God had you, you know, and it's those things that we got to be careful of. And, if we kind of wrapping this up today, if we could kind of help you or challenge you in some ways, again, we love kind of the practical side here on the podcast of just helping people. But just ask yourself, what is taking my time? If it's as simple as, if it is your phone, obviously you can look at the screen time. If it's a hobby or anything. But here's the big question. Is it pulling me towards God, or is it pulling me away from God? That's one of the big things. That's where you start. Like you said earlier, we can't acknowledge there's a problem if we don't acknowledge there's a problem. Mm-hmm. And so I've got to ask myself, is what I'm giving my time to, my attention to, is it pulling me toward God or pulling me away from God? If it is something like this phone or our computers or apps or whatever it may be, set boundaries on those things. I joked about it earlier. If you got to, buy an alarm clock. Don't let your phone be an alarm clock. Yeah. I've heard of people that have bought one, and literally they will plug their phone up on the other end of the room or in a different room if it means they don't get on it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things out there that we can do to help those things. Yeah. We just got to be willing to take those steps. And here's one of the biggest things I have said in so many other cases, not just our phone. But you have to replace. You cannot just remove. Mm-hmm. You've got to replace it. For the bad habits that you take away, you've got to put something right in its place. Because,
and I'll let you continue with that. Because if you don't replace it, you'll replace it with what you removed.
Yes.
And you'll fill in the gap right there where you had one with the thing that you removed.
Yeah.
So you cannot, and that's for a plethora of things. If you remove it, you've got to replace it with something.
Yes, you got to, and that's the thing. You've got to understand that, like you said, we naturally want to fill the gaps.
We have teenagers that be like, I want to get off my phone more, so they get off their phone, and then a week later they're back on it. I was like, well, what did you replace it with? Well, I just try not to be on it. It's like, no, you lost.
I know. I have to chuckle sometimes. People that are like, I'm taking a time out from social media, and then in a few days they'll get right back on. And I tell myself,
back in.
I tell myself, I'm like, they just took a break. That's it. Like they didn't put something back in its place.
Yeah.
If social media or something like that is a rough spot for you and it takes a lot of your time, well, I mean, not trying to be cliche or anything, read your Bible more, pray more. If you're like, well, I already do read my Bible, but I'm still putting some time towards that, well, go outside, read a book, talk to your friends, do something, fill that gap in with something right.
Yeah.
Like you said, or we are by default going to go back to filling it with something else. And it either is going to be the same thing that we did, or it's going to be another bad habit that we put right back in its place. So replace, don't just remove. We've got to do those things. I could share with you story after story of people that I've talked to about that very idea right there. And it is so true. And I've seen it in my life of, if you're trying to get rid of this bad habit, we'll put something good in its place. Don't just leave a gap there.
Yeah.
You got to put something right in it. And so, guys, again, it's one of those things today. If we can give you a little bit of encouragement, a little something to help you today. Doom scrolling is one of those things that we all fall prey to it. Look, we're not sitting here like we're perfect. Again, that's why we didn't pull up our screen time today and things like that. We all fall prey to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is doing what's necessary. Like you said, guarding our time, guarding our attention, guarding our hearts, putting the right things in place when we remove the wrong things.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you may start to see that change and that shift in your life.
And it's not about getting off social media. It's about taking control of it.
Yes, absolutely. And listen, they're not wrong things. Just use them in the right ways, and let's give that time back to God that He deserves. So, guys, we appreciate y'all. Hope this be a help to you.
Appreciate y'all.